Rachelle Torrio, and this is the Be Mindful podcast. Hello, and welcome back to the Be Mindful podcast. If you're new here, my name is Rachelle. I am your host, and if you've been around, I haven't been here. I'm so sorry, but we're back. We are back. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of some life updates until we get to the topic. If you don't know what the topic is, that means you didn't read the podcast episode. And we're going to be talking about how we're going to start our glow up journey before 2025. Because we don't need to wait till the new year to work on ourselves. And I thought this would be a great episode to kind of just get back into it. But before we get into it, I am going to update you, share with you where I've been, what's going on with my life. So one thing I do want to mention is that I've always knew I was going to be coming back. Of course, it's just trying to find the balance between recording and editing and posting and all of that on top of running a coaching business, on top of working full time, on top of trying to plan a dream wedding, trying to find a home. Your girl was burnt out. I really just didn't have the capacity to show up for you guys. I'm going to be completely honest. I had to show up for myself. And as I always tell you, if you have been following the podcast and you listen to my episodes, you know I always say prioritize yourself. Put yourself first, because you can't help others and show up for others if you don't show up for yourself first. Even how much I love podcasting and showing up on here, it was really difficult, especially as time was getting closer to my wedding. So I told myself, you know what? The podcast is always going to be there. Those who find my episodes, it's going to help them. That is the whole purpose, is helping other people. And it's not like this podcast is ever going to disappear, because your girl is always going to show up, even if she stops for a little bit. And that's the reality of my life. I just got so busy that it was so overwhelming, and it wouldn't be fair to other people for me to just show up half-assed. So here I am. And if you're new here, these episodes are on every platform, but if you want to watch the video, you can watch it on Spotify or on YouTube. And that is my plan for this podcast. I just want this to be kind of like a hanging out with each other, girl talk, and just focusing on improving our lives together. My main goal is to release an episode every single week, but we're going to ease our way into that. And I'm going to focus on posting maybe twice a month instead of like every single week within the month. Oh, I forgot to mention that another reason why I haven't been here is because my podcast mic actually broke. So I just got a replacement. It's working fine, and let's hope it stays this way. I also got myself an arm, and I'm no longer holding my podcast mic. So we're moving up here. We're moving up. And if you're watching the video, we do clearly have a new setup here. I need something that's a little bit more comfortable where I can easily set it up quickly, and this is it. So it's not the best background, but we're making it work, okay? So that's a little update of what's been happening in my life. My wedding is officially done. It was the best day ever. I'm going to put a little bit of some photos here to show you how beautiful it was. If you are someone who wants a wedding, you have a dream wedding, go for it. But what I will tell you is to never, ever, 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 ever go into it creating more debt in your life, because me and my husband were very strategic. It took me a couple years to plan this, but I took my time, and I did not settle for anything less. I'll tell you that. It was the best day ever with my loved ones, and I do not regret anything one bit. Now that I've allowed myself to just kind of get out of this bridal era, me and my husband have been focusing on getting a home. So we actually did go into escrow a week after the wedding, which was insane. But sadly, we had to cancel that escrow, which is totally fine. Everything that's meant to be is going to happen. And it was really sad finding out that we did have to cancel escrow, which was also not our fault. But that just means that there's something else better out there for us. And we're in a position to get our first home together eventually. But we ain't going to rush it, because we don't rush here. We do not rush things that aren't meant for us, right? So now let's get into the topic of today, starting your glow up journey and making sure you start before 2025, because like I said, we can work on ourselves now. And we're going to do that today. And before we get started, grab your paper, grab your pen, write all this down so that you can really prepare yourself and just get into it. Get yourself motivated, get yourself inspired, because just listening to this and not taking action ain't going to do anything, right? So make those notes. So to get started, the first thing I really want to recommend is defining your own glow up journey. Like, what does glowing up even mean to you? Normally, this is focused on personal growth. So let's say that you want to improve your self-care habits, or maybe you want to work on building your confidence. Whatever it is, find out what it's going to look like for you. Like, what is the end goal going to look like? How are you going to feel after working on this and improving whatever you're trying to glow up on? So write that down right now. Define what glowing up means to you, because this is going to be your motivator. This is going to help you understand, like, okay, this is my end goal. This is what I'm trying to reach. And also, I want you to write down why. Why do you want to do this anyways? Why are you working on this? What came up? Like, what habits have you noticed that you want to let go of? And what are the habits that you want to create to improve your life? Another thing that's going to help you during this is really getting clear on the area you want to improve. So there's so many different things. There's physical, there's mental. You can probably want to work on your relationships, like not just romantic, but with like friends. Maybe you want to work on your spirituality, or you want to work on your environment. You want to improve your environment. Like maybe you want to get a new home, or maybe you want to see how you can create more feng shui in your room. And my last example is finances. I think this is really important because girl math is becoming so popular, and I'm not all about that. Your girl is not all about going into debt and just buying all these things that like we don't need. So that is actually one thing that I have worked on and I'm super proud of and I'm continuing to improve on. So for example, if you want to work on your finances, what part of it do you want to work on? One thing that I noticed is that if I wanted something, I would just kind of just buy it for myself, which there's nothing wrong with, but I wasn't being intentional with my money. There is so much power in knowing where your money is going. I've just been so intentional with my money, and it just feels so empowering to know where my money is going in and out. So for example, every time I get paid, I make sure I have funds for savings. So whatever I'm saving up for, make sure that I have savings for my emergency. And then I also have funds to just like spend on whatever I want. I give myself a specific amount, like, okay, this is what you're going to have for the next 2 weeks to be able to spend on literally anything. And if I end up not using it, I just save it on the side again. So once you get clear on the area that you want to work on, you're going to want to create a game plan, obviously. So if you need some guidance on this, I highly recommend that you download my free monthly manifestation guide. It's going to be in the show notes below. I'll put a picture here so you can see what it looks like. And in this guide, it's specifically going to help you create actions and also understand like what beliefs do you need in order for you to become this person. This glow up journey is so that you can improve yourself and become the best version of yourself. So what is that going to look like? And with this guide, it's going to help you get that clarity so that you can end up making a game plan and creating action steps that you need in order to work on yourself and stay consistent. Now, whatever area you decide to work on, of course, it's going to be different. Your game plan is going to be different, but I'm going to give you some steps that you could take today that's going to be part of your overall journey based on any area that you're working on. The first example is really doing your best to practice mindfulness. And one of those examples can be just pausing anytime you are rushing things. Growing up, I have always had this constant urgency of rushing into things and feeling like I'm late or behind. I don't know why. So if you find yourself like rushing or you're overwhelmed, I'm advising you to practice pausing and really just allowing yourself to take it slow. My cousin Nicolina actually gave me this really good tip to just put sticky notes around the house to kind of just like remind myself to slow down, because I was feeling very overwhelmed and constantly just doing things when I could have just like given myself a moment to just pause and take it slower. So for example, I added the sticky note onto the mirror in our bathroom so me and my husband see it every single day, and he even says it helps him out. And if you're not watching the video, the sticky note says, slow the fuck down, you're okay. I love it. It's helped me so much, especially in moments where I'm feeling so overwhelmed, or maybe I'm trying to rush to get somewhere because I'm running late. It reminds me to like, okay, chill. Like, it's okay. Take your time. You don't have to rush from one thing to the other. Another example of mindfulness is doing things one at a time. So what I mean by this is really practicing to just like be present in whatever activity you're doing. So it doesn't have to be like an actual activity. It can be literally like, for example, eating. So when was the last time you were by yourself, maybe eating food, and you weren't on your phone? Practice being present in that moment and focusing on eating and enjoying your meal. I know it's something so simple and so small, but not a lot of people have that privilege to actually just be there in silence and kind of just enjoy the food that they have. And when you're being present, you get to have that gratitude for that very moment. Now, I'm not saying that you have to do this all the time. You can do this whenever you want, but practicing this can help you just like remember like these small moments in life that you just never get back. You can really be present with whatever it is that you're doing. So try this daily, and it can really help you, especially when you do actually do work and you do your activities. You're being present in that moment and focusing on that one thing. The next tip is to practice daily affirmations. I will always say this. This is something I am so wholeheartedly like so passionate about sharing because of the impact. Repetition reinforces positive beliefs. And with repetition, you create habit, unconscious habits. So when you're practicing daily affirmations, you're creating healthy, new, and empowering neural pathways in your brain. There are actual studies that show that the thoughts that you think of daily, those are your beliefs. Those are habitual. You don't really like take a moment to realize you're thinking that. But with daily affirmations, of course, it's not a habitual habit. You are creating new thought patterns, so it takes time. Repetition creates an unconscious habit. So when we do this with our thoughts, we are creating a new belief. And this is so important to me because it does impact our health, it does impact our emotions, it impacts our mental health, our well-being, and it all stems from our mindset. So if you can incorporate daily affirmations, I highly recommend it. And you can even add them as reminders on your phone. I have reminders that pop up every single week for me, just randomly. And it's been really helpful because it allows me to kind of just pause for a second, say it to myself, and it's just so empowering, especially if these affirmations are written by you. Another tip that's going to help you throughout your glow up journey is creating weekly self-care routines. So if you don't use your calendar, this is your sign to use your calendar. So get it out right now. And I want you to look at your week and see like, where do you have openings? I think this is super important that you have self-care time, because when you take care of yourself, you stress less. Stress is healthy, but chronic stress is not, and we want to avoid that. Now, these self-care routines don't have to be exactly the same every single week. What I'm just recommending is that you schedule this time for you, just like an appointment. If you have an appointment with like your doctor or you have a dentist appointment, like you're not going to miss that, right? You're going to show up for that. So this is the same thing. When you schedule in your self-care, make it an appointment where you are not going to let anything else stop you from showing up for yourself. The next step for your glow up journey is to drink your water. Drink your water, girl. We all know the benefits of water. I'm not even going to go into this. Just make sure you have your flask with you, okay? And honestly, I know it's such a simple tip, but like getting one with a straw, my Awala, I freaking love this thing. I bring it everywhere. And this is 40 ounces. If I don't bring this, I'm dehydrated. So stay hydrated, okay? And now on to the next tip, and that's dressing up and fixing up yourself. Do it for yourself. If you look good, you feel good, right? So just do this as often as you can. I really recommend, like, anywhere you go, do your best to put a little bit of more effort so that you just feel good about yourself. It'll change your mood and it'll change the way you even look at yourself. Just take the time for yourself to like get ready in the morning. Again, this is something super simple, but this is part of it. This is part of like working on yourself and realizing like, I get to do this. I get to freaking look good if I want to. I get to like really fix myself if I want to. Another thing that's going to help you through your glow up journey is reducing your screen time. So I know all iPhones especially, you can limit the time that you have on an app. I've done it for Instagram. I've done it for TikTok. I purposely did it for Instagram and TikTok because it does pop up and it tells me like, hey, you got like 5 more minutes on this app, which I love because it really is clear to me like, okay, I need to chill and just put my phone away so I don't go on and scroll for like hours. I really recommend this because we're in a society where we're so used to so much stimuli, it can be overwhelming. And when you reduce screen time, well, especially for me, it helps me so much because I've noticed when I'm on it too much, my anxiety is pretty high. And I know it's high because I haven't given myself to literally just allow my brain to chill. Try this out and I promise it's going to make you feel so much more at ease. And for my last tip, this is one that I always give, especially if you've been listening, you'll know I'll always say this, and that is to celebrate your wins. Celebrate yourself. Be proud of everything that you do, even if it's so little. I've gone to the habit where I actively just tell myself like, oh, look at you, Ray. Look at you. You did that. And just like calling myself out and being my biggest hype girl, because who else is going to do it, right? You can't rely on outside validation. You can't rely on just like the compliments from your family and friends. Like, no. You need to give yourself some self-love. Be proud of yourself. I challenge you to acknowledge the little things every day and just point something out and be like, okay, what can I be proud of from today? And that is all my tips for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. This was so fun recording and I'm super happy to be back, and I promise there is more to come. And I hope you have a brilliant day or night, whatever time it is, and just know that you are freaking awesome. Give yourself like 3 to 6 months. If you stay consistent with these tips, you are going to change your life, guaranteed. And before we go, just a reminder to be mindful, because who you are from within will only attract from the out. See you in the next episode. Bye guys.